What was your most expensive frick up of 2021? My boiler wasn't working, so got a plumber. A line was pinched, or maybe had frozen. It worked fine when the plumber got there. £160 and he didn't do anything. So apparently not all brake pads squeak when they need to be replaced. Sometimes you find out when you hear the horrible loud grinding noise of metal on metal and assume you're about to die. New brake pads and rotors all around, I suppose. They really should be required to squeal when the pads are low. I end up needing new rotors every time I need pads. We forgot to turn the outside water off and remove the hose before freezing weather set in. I guess that frick up was technically in 2018. But come spring we go to use the hose and kinda shrug at the low water pressure. Yeah, all that extra water that should have been coming out, definitely streaming into our basement ceiling. We had to tear a bunch of drywall and carpet and stuff out and it'll cost several thousand to fix if when we do. Bought $200 worth of wine for a party, left it under the bottom of the cart because it was raining. Went home, realized there was no wine, went back to store, wine was gone. Bought $200 worth of more wine, sad. You got off easy if $200 was all you lost. Emptying my transmission fluid thinking it was oil, then filled up oil with extra oil thinking I had just drained it. Continued to drive truck with no trans fluid and double the amount of oil. That must have been a fun explosion. I was engaged in June. I was no longer engaged in September. Whole lot of money down the drain. You've saved yourself potentially much more, my friend. Not mine, but my wife's. Left her wallet sitting in the passenger seat when she went into work. Came back to a smashed window and no wallet. So just over $400 to replace the window. Deductible for the insurance was $500. And about $100 in cash that was in said wallet. Plus the headache of replacing all of her IDs, credit cards, etc. My vision coverage at work is $300 every 2 years, or what I should have read, every 24 months. I bought new glasses for $645 at 22 months. When I tried to submit it, it got denied and can't get my $300, so I just sucked up the whole cost. Zenny Optical, my friend. Didn't cap the tooth. I got a 2K root canal done 2 years ago. Split the tooth. Now I'm looking at another 5K for an implant. Price is not inflated for pain. Root canal is something like €600 in Hungary in the fancy clinics. You could literally fly to Europe, have a cool vacation and fly back to the States for pretty much the same money. Doing $400 worth of food shopping, then getting into a car accident which destroyed the food in my trunk. Had to get the car fixed and do food shopping again. Dang, you buy a lot of food at once. My body fricked up, not me. I got preeclampsia and subsequently had my baby very prematurely because of it. I was unable to go back to work after my paid leave ended because it was still before my due date. I wasn't going to take a baby to daycare who still should be growing inside me. I finally was able to start daycare when the baby was 2.5 months past the due date, a little over 4 months old. Between the medical bills, the price of gas going between home and the high-end hospital, paying for food at the hospital, and the work missed, I was out a lot of money. But positive side, my baby is happy and about as healthy as can be expected after being born 2 months early. You poor thing. I'm so glad your little one is doing well. Finished school that I paid out of pocket for, went into my internship, and absolutely hated the field. Decided I am going back to school for something else. There's been people who graduate with a master's in teaching, teach school for a year and then decide frick this. Bought a $200 vanilla visa to buy a Halloween costume online. Website doesn't accept prepaid gift cards. Oh well, now I just have a gift card to use. That should have been the end of it. I come home from work that night and check the balance of the gift card in my wallet the entire night, and now the balance is mysteriously only 80 cents with a pending transaction for Neiman fricking Marcus. Long story short, The card info was likely in someone else's system and they drained the card as soon as it was activated. Bought at a CVS. And now I'm in a dispute with Visa attempting to prove to them that I did not make that purchase. I'm almost positive I'll never see that money again, but I'm sure as heck telling everyone I know to stay away from vanilla gift cards. I took a blacksmithing class over the summer. I really liked it. I expect to be out several grand by next summer. Tools are expensive. I got a phone call from the power company that my bill was past due and my power was about to be shut off. I'm a little disorganized and I was very sleep deprived at the moment, so I just paid my bill over the phone. I was a little confused because I never got an email confirming the payment. When I got home I dug up an old bill to check my account balance and remembered I'd paid my bill just 3 weeks before. My dumb butt got scammed by one of the oldest tricks in the book. $200 gone. Paid for prep courses for an exam. Just before the law concerning the exam material changed. Ugh. $500 down the drain. I spent about $130 on a homecoming dress and shoes for a homecoming that I was only 50% sure I had a ticket to. I didn't have a ticket. Got caught up in a bidding war for a Switch and ending up paying marginally more for a second-hand Nintendo Switch package than would be in the shops. I'm so tight with money I literally couldn't stop thinking about it for days, lol. Yup, this would seriously bother me. My wife bought steaks from a van this year. There are many issues with doing such a thing, but the one that gets me the most is it wasn't even a great deal. I could go to the store and get cuts for what we paid. Some dude came to my front door in July telling me his company would come out and spray my house for bugs, and knock down all the wasps' nests and it would only cost me $50. Sweet. He told me that normally they come out every couple of months, but I can call and cancel my contract if I wanted to after the first $50 visit. He did not tell me that there would be a fee to cancel my contract. So I could either pay them $80 every 2 months or I could cancel for $20 less than the amount of having them out every 2 months. Frick you hawks. When my wife said she was in so much pain and thought her appendix was going to burst, after a doctor visit and CAT scan it was determined she just needed to poop. I'm still paying that medical bill. On the flip side, my wife had severe pain and it ended being her gallbladder. Cost $10,000 after insurance. Thought my fuel pump went out on my car. Well, first I thought it was my fuel filter that needed replacing. Tried cranking it a few times to find out it wasn't. Then replaced the fuel filter controller. Tried cranking it a few times, wasn't that either. Then fricked around with the fuel pump. Tried cranking it a few times, it wasn't. Threw my arms up in frustration and got it towed into the dealership. Turns out the timing belt had snapped. And the way VW engines are, the cranking I had done to try to diagnose the filter controller pump managed to brick my engine. They gave me $300 for my freaking spotless VW GTI with only 100k miles on it. Only problem was that needed a whole new engine. They still ripped you off. Just the catalytic converter and transmission are worth way more than that. Realized I booked a flight for the wrong day, but it was the most basic level of seating so I couldn't get it refunded. So now I'm out $200, at least, and I'm gonna have to ask my roommate to pay a little extra for me on rent this month. Some airlines, even though you can't cancel and get a refund, will let you change the day with a small fee. It is no consolation but sounds like you are traveling anyways. Rented a car for a day, didn't elect to take the comprehensive insurance because it's just for one day and we won't need it. Sure enough, that day on my way to work I had an accident and had to pay the $850 excess. It was a very expensive one-day hire. If you have an auto insurance policy, this should be an eligible claim, just need to pay your deductible. Overextended while parking. Tried to back up to correct it and the curb just ripped my front bumper off. So that was fun. My mom was helping me move out of my dorm back in May. We only had plastic bags. Some were bigger than others. I was on trash duty. Usually, I'd pack up my own electronics, but she put them in one of those bags. All of them. I had a lot of useless crap. so heavy bags didn't faze me. The unfortunate side is, I asked her every time, is this a trash bag, and she would answer yes. I threw away $2,500 in electronics. Cross-referencing against Amazon. I don't care about most of it, just the Switch really. But still, I lost it all. Spent $50 one night on Ubers to and from the club and the entry fee, just to leave after 15 minutes because my friend got bounced for being stupid. That was a quiet ride home. Doesn't sound like your freak up. Graphist here. Every year I design the calendar for a local rugby club. As they had a lot of sponsor in common from the past year, I took the old one but forgot to change the calendar from 2018 to 2019. My mistake costed me €780, $870. Happened this morning, thanks for reminding me. Forgot to buy my monthly train ticket to Vienna. Paid a hefty fine of €105, which would have been €135 if I hadn't paid on the spot. Not necessarily embarrassing since I looked prepared to present my ticket, which I then realized I haven't actually bought at that moment. We get too busy with life, we forget crap. Just be glad you had the money to pay fine plus get the monthly ticket. Went to get my upper lobes pierced. I told the pisser I was looking for jewelry in the $100-$150 range and she showed me a bunch of pieces. Chose a pair and got the piercings. When I went to pay she charged me $1,200. Turns out, the pair I chose were black hacking diamonds and were not in my agreed on price range. And no, they do not accept returns. Unfortunately, my most expensive frick up isn't even my fault. I got rear-ended 3 weeks ago and my car was totaled. It wasn't worth tons but got the job done, and now I'm stuck in a crappy situation where I will probably have to buy a car that costs more than the money I'm getting from the settlement. It also does not help that I went through the ESPUS lane with no ESPUS in the rental car I'm using right now because I'm used to having an ESPUS in my old car. No idea how much that's gonna cost me, but I'm not really looking forward to finding out. You should be able to go to the ESPUS website for that state, enter plate numbers and date range. You can pay online for 7 days. I had to get new glasses. Went to a show and forgot to swap them out. They went flying in the pit and ended up in several pieces. Had to get another pair. Getting the cart to the racetrack and go to the point where the engine didn't take it and blowing it up. Getting a new engine and the car set up back was the most single expensive thing, even more than purchasing the car itself. Long story short, my left knee's dislocated and my right has a hairline fracture. Worst part, I've officially sank a school, where I was injured, into $850,000 of debt for my injuries, so it costed me mobility and the school 5 teacher layoffs. America. This is my friend's. She was at a party, college freshman first month. Some dude came up to her and was like, wanna make money? Let me transfer my Bitcoin into your Venmo and you can keep $100. She doesn't know crap about crap and she was drunk, so she let him. He transferred $880 from each card on her account. Hers, and she has no idea who the other card belongs to, not her parents or anything. Can't report it because she doesn't have the bank account number or anything but the guy's Snapchat. Oh, I can relate to this one. I was driving my dad's brand new 2020 GMC truck and as I was backing out of the garage the mirror hit the side of the garage and ripped it off. $1,300 for a new freaking mirror. You guys should be backing in. Quicker and safer to leave. Loaned a family member $1,000. They were completely trustworthy and honest individual who was coming into money very soon after the loan. I'm not going into why they needed the money if they were getting a large sum of money in a few months. About the time they got their money I ended up with a medical emergency, which the money that I loaned would have helped me out tremendously. So now I have lost wages, medical bills, past due bills and just trying to keep my head above water while seeing this person posting trips, shopping and a new roof for their new house. I've asked them twice about the loan and I get it's on its way to you. I'm just sitting here thinking how this is a life lesson, how sad it is how money can change someone and how I lost a lifelong friendship. On my drive to work at 5 AM on a Saturday morning, I hit a pig. Apparently the Department of Conservation calls them wild boars, but let's get real, it's a better story to call it a pig. Fricked my car up pretty good, discovered that full coverage doesn't always include rental reimbursement. All in all babe cost me $1,529. That's lost pay, the rental and the deductible. I get the car back tomorrow. Crap, I'm glad this is almost over. I guess I didn't really cause the frick up because you can't control animals, but I sure do feel like I caused it. Reserving a hotel room by Central Park for the current day instead of in a month when I actually needed it. You can't cancel with less than 48 hours notice. Cost me $220. I paid way too much of multiple flavors of fees at my last mortgage renewal because I trusted my mortgage advisor too much without double checking her. I don't know dong about mortgages and she made suboptimal decisions I couldn't understand at the time. I estimate it cost me $1,500 more than it should have. My car was running a bit rough and I figured I would get an oil change and get it checked out next week. The next day it threw a rod and destroyed the engine. $7,000 for tows, replacement engine, and labor. $63,000 miles on a $60,000 warranty. Bought 2 guitars and an amplifier off a website where you can make payments on them each month. I figured, oh, I'll be able to afford this. Ended up not being able to keep up with the payments, so I maxed out my credit card to pay them all off so I would stop getting charged. I'm now $4,000 in credit card debt. My family is trying to save money by not going out to eat. My mom just decided to buy us all tickets to go to Universal Studios for my birthday. Fell for a Kirby sales pitch. We had just got home from out of town and they show up. This guy stayed for like 5 hours and wouldn't stop vacuuming and talking it up until we were just tired and agreed to buy it. Literally the next day we called to have it picked up. What sucks is they took our vacuum as a trade-in and we called every day for a month but never got it back. They tried to bring us someone else's cheap vacuum saying it's basically an upgrade from our original. We sent them on their way. We never actually lost any money, but we almost did. I've heard of quite a few people who still got charged even after cancelling the contract. We were lucky for the most part. Kept going on a contract to purchase a house I was having doubts about, until I cancelled the week of closing after getting even more bad news. Wish I'd just cancelled sooner. Cost me deposit, moving expenses to storage and back, extra inspection costs, and I missed a better house than the one I'm in now during that contract time. I moved abroad with my dog this year and didn't do enough research on her ticket. I got myself a cheap ticket, but hers was super expensive as it had to be by cargo and there were a bunch of fees. I could have flown with another airline that had a standard dog rate, even as cargo. Even though my ticket would have been a bit more expensive, I would have saved a couple hundred on my dog. Got in a car accident. $4,100 gone. Also got a $166 ticket cause of the accident. But it also saved me from paying the remaining $6,000 on my car because of gap insurance. Blessing and a curse, I suppose. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.